start this.
Ahoy hoy, and welcome to the 25 Cent Play podcast for Tuesday, June 5th. We're coming to you live from Kensha Hall at E3. Now,
Damn straight.
No, we're not. We're in Steve's office like always. Steve, how you doing?
I just spilled beer all over the place.
You did, further delaying the start of the podcast.
That's all right. We're going to cut this segment short, and we're going to go right to playing League of Legends.
This is one of the most pre-podcast beers that we've drank.
Well, I got to put this episode on YouTube, so I'm trying to make sure we're ready to go. We have to be funny right up front.
Good. Yes, yeah. Interestingly enough, Steve told me at the beginning of the podcast that this is episode 92, and it's amazing to think how far we've come since we started as a weekly topic-driven podcast where we would have frank discussions about topics in games, to a podcast that talked exclusively about Team Fortress, to a podcast that talks exclusively about StarCraft, to a podcast that now talks exclusively about League of Legends, and various other things in between.
Yep.
And always with light racism. Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Light racism. I can't even.
My favorite period was when I was heavily addicted to Dragon Age.
Yeah.
The good old days. Did you ever buy or play Dragon Age 2?
No. I did briefly when Amazon was trying to wave it around at me. If they tried to sell it for $20 to get Dragon Age and Dragon Age 2 for $20, I was like, no, I will give you $10 for just Dragon Age 2. But they wanted $20 for Dragon Age 2 standalone.
Yeah.
So you still haven't played it?
No.
You know what? From what I understand, you're not missing anything.
Yeah. One day it'll be on
I heard
World
the game
Games.
doesn't exist because it ain't on Steam, so there we go.
Much like Battlefield 3. That's why I've never reinstalled it.
I'd play Battlefield 3 if it wasn't in Russian. I guess it's really more my fault.
You know what? Now that I've sat down and we are actually recording this, I wish I had gone and flossed my teeth.
It's okay. My feet are wet from the beer you spilled on the carpet.
So are mine.
I never took off my shoes.
And just for everyone listening, so you don't get confused, we were eating corn on the cob. Hence, I have all corn stuck in my teeth. I should go smile at the camera.
So I believe that we are in fact in the midst of E3, even though the three of us are not there because we have regular non-video game related jobs.
We could have gotten passes very easily.
Why? To go to the most boring year. If I was ever if I was ever going, I'd want to go for multiple console launch year.
Yeah, not the Wii U.
Well, this is
we'll
cool
play the
for Wii U stuff, but I mean, so what? It's also geared toward retailers, and we're not retailers. I mean, that's a fact, Jack.
Well, it's more geared towards retailers and
the press.
The press supporting retailers.
Exactly.
It's,
and I don't think we qualify as.
We'll get to play all the Wii U stuff at PAX in less than 3 months. So
yeah, that's true.
Amazing to think less than 3 months from now.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. PAX is canceled.
You say that every week, Steve.
No, PAX is canceled. The building that Penny Arcade is in, it burst into flames.
Oh, did it really?
No. All right. I don't even know where we are.
So yeah, let's talk about some of the
let's talk
highlights
about
I've
E3.
seen through E3. The first thing caught my eye, and I seriously have not done an enormous amount of research as much as Matt. Matt actually watched a lot of streams, so he can shoulder the load on this one. But the thing I saw was
I would like to posit that Matt did not watch a lot of streams. He had them on in the background as he did other things.
Steve and I actually watched so much yesterday that I actually asked the question, why aren't we re-streaming this?
Which really
with
shocks
commentary. And Steve's like, why didn't you suggest that before? And I was like, it wasn't until I saw this Ubisoft press conference that I thought that there would be merit in us talking over.
And you know what?
It wasn't until this Far Cry 3 demo that I thought, when I turned on, thought it was going to be a new Turok game.
Is it a new Turok game?
No,
is that announced?
No, it's not. But because you brought up the Ubisoft demo, after we turned off the stream to play League of Legends, they did announce a brand new game called Watch Dogs, which looks fucking dope, and it's coming to PC.
Excellent.
So I saw like I was saying there. What caught my eye first was that Valve announced a date for CS:GO,
Mhm.
also known as Gorilla Orangutan, whatever you want to call it. George Optimopoulos.
I like to refer to it as go, go, go.
Yeah. So this is a big thing in general. More so, I would say, for console people. This is where the console people I want to know. This is like
the price
temperature.
point is
$20,
is
right?
Very, very nice. I think it was 15.
15. Okay, $20, 15,
like
something like that. Which sounds fair and balanced. As that basically Valve is just coming out and saying, yeah, this is what the price is going to be in 2 weeks. Now, detail I didn't see, but maybe one of you guys did. Is it a download game?
Download, yeah.
Only.
Yep.
From
disc.
everything I read, no disc.
Awesome.
Well, yes, and I mean, why would you need a disc since it's a game that can only be played if you have the internet?
Well, I'm
I
just
think
wondering
there
because
is
it's gonna
some sort of body.
for its
nonsense.
consoleness. A good way for Microsoft to screw them over would have been like, oh no, it's 3 megs over. You have to put this on a disc.
No, they've
that's
been
that
up in
long-
that limit
yeah,
for a
that,
for
that
a while
long
now.
since has not been a problem. And the important part about the price point and the genre is that there have been several $15 to $20 downloadable multiplayer focused shooters for the Xbox that have been terrible. So thinking, hey, why don't we go multiplayer focused, make it inexpensive, make it downloadable for the Xbox to capitalize on people that love to play online shooters and pay $60 for a game that, ultimately they don't give a shit about the single player. Many companies have tried to do this. They just haven't been Valve. They've been crappier companies. There have been many, many attempts to have a $15 download
Was that
only.
Blacklight?
Blacklight is one.
Is that even the right name?
Nexius, that
Nexus,
one.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
There-
That game is super generic though. That might as well be like
No,
poor
but
man Halo.
But
that's
what
that's
Matt is
what I'm
saying.
saying
It's
is
like-
that all the games
There
that have
hasn't
come
been
out
someone
have
who
been
has
bad.
any been vetted. Yeah.
Yes, all the games that have come out at that price point in that genre for the consoles.
And
have
you know,
been
and you
bad.
know why, that happens is because the big studios are afraid to release something at that price point.
Yeah, that's crazy
that's-
because I mean, why? How could you make money?
we don't
Notch.
we
He has
like,
all the monies.
we don't like money.
$20.
So I think this product is just going to be whatever it is for PC. I mean, I know all of us own Counter-Strike. All of us has played Counter-Strike, but I don't think any of us.
Also,
are
all of
excited.
us own Counter-Strike Go already.
Well, we have the beta.
we have the beta.
We will be asked to pony up $15 if we want to continue to play it, which I would invest down the line. I'm not that excited about the game because I know what Counter-Strike is, and this seems fine. But if Counter-Strike was my game, I would be excited.
Yeah, how would I say this? It has a definitive lack of sticky bomb jumping.
Yeah, well, we've already gone
thus,
through
It's
why.
it's not Team Fortress, Matt.
Right.
We're well aware that it is Counter-Strike.
So
different
Counter-Strike is
games.
Counter-Strike, and I'm not going to bemoan the game itself because, in my opinion, this is kind of what I'm thinking about is that this game is as vetted as you can get. I mean, seriously, if you like shooters beyond the level that your two activities are sniffing glue and playing COD 4, you should
play
know
this
about
game,
you should
yeah.
know about it at least. You should be like, oh yeah, I used to play Counter-Strike, or I played Counter-Strike, or my friend played Counter-Strike, or I know people. I have the feeling that if you like first-person shooters, you are aware of Counter-Strike. It's just I think it's something that exists. So I think they've got a great time of year, August. They're right in the middle of the Call of Duty thing. So
Yeah,
people have
they're
been
up
playing Call of
against
Duty
nothing.
they've been playing Call of Duty since Christmas.
Whoa!
And
They're
they're
up
done.
against Dark Souls.
They're yeah. So
I can't wait for that game.
single player
Yeah, no, it's a complete opposite end.
single player RPG. Yeah. Okay. So they've got this game in there, and because basically what they're really trying to do with the console market, like I said, the PC market that's already a dedicated fan base. If you're not into Counter-Strike, you're probably not jumping into this game like, this is my time to be a Counter-Strike champion. I'm going to start my spray off with meat spin, and I'm going to be the best.
Oh.
Well, I mean, but
Thanks, Charlie.
because of the install base of Steam, it is possible that, like, although the old Counter-Strike is always there and always promoted, that it's
there are still in the neighborhood of like 50 to 60,000 people that play it every day.
yeah, but
1.6 is the bomb.
but that's not necessarily getting new users.
Except it's not.
So, like, with the install base
No.
of Steam, like, having a new game that really advertises, like, this is new, like, get in now, like, that might get some new blood.
Yeah, well, I agree. And, well, no, they're going to have an opportunity to be like, yo, we are Valve. If you've never bought Counter-Strike before, maybe this is the Counter-Strike you want to buy, because it's always there. I mean, Counter-Strike is kind of always there, but, like, there's so many other things to buy.
You know what I'm waiting for? I'm gonna buy Counter-Strike, and when they open up the workshop, I'm gonna make a terrorist skin that looks like one of the counter-terrorists. I'll just blend in.
You just invented the spy class, son.
So what I'm saying though is that it's
Your
good time
TF2 mod for
Yeah.
Counter-Strike Go.
that we got our folks over on you got our console kids, and they're gonna be like, okay, hey, let me check this out, and then they'll be like, yo, this game is awesome, and then they'll go and sell their Xbox and get way into like MMOs, and that's how that works, right?
Yeah.
It just grows the market that way.
Hopefully.
No,
No.
that never happens.
All right. Yeah, I was just checking. No, I think that it's a good position. I mean, of course, there are tons of hiccups that can come in because it's you're playing in Microsoft's backyard. You're not you don't have full control of what's going on there.
True, but I've always been an advocate of, for a really long time, you had to ship your software not broken, and that people having internet connectivity has made developers be extremely sloppy. And Microsoft will let you fix bugs and stuff like that outside of like the big title release.
Oh no,
I'm
I'm not worried about bugs and stuff. I'm saying like things like, oh, there's a network issue. There always seems like there's some like crazy flag that doesn't make sense that just kind of kills the casual players who don't have a lot invested. They don't have a big dog in this fight. It's just a game they wanted to play, and it's broken. All right,
yeah,
I'll go back.
and I think between Microsoft and Valve, that's not going to be.
Well, okay, cool.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I'm saying I hope.
Well,
that's
and
the case.
Valve
I think
has an
they-
open ticket to update whenever they want on PS3. So it'll be fine there, just like it is on PC. Thrizzle?
What's that?
I think that's what
Is that a thing?
you know, the home button that you press on the Wii U controller.
Oh, so you can go to your Nintendo Sony Home.
Yes, your Nintendo
Sony
Sony
Home. Yes. All right.
So, yes. What I'm basically saying is, I think this is a big opportunity for Valve. They got a really good time to do it. They got a fresh coat of paint, so they can market it to their audience, which is, I'm sure going to be somewhat excited about this. I'm sure it's going to sell pretty well with people who've been playing the beta, because people have been playing the beta, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see what comes out of it, because I think it's an interesting proposition. Also, with the fact that I think that there's possibly esports potential for Counter-Strike Go, so we'll see if that benefits from some stuff. I mean, there is going to be, once they get a lot of the spectating stuff hammered out with Dota 2, I'm sure that stuff's coming to other things. So we'll see what happens. I think Valve's in a good position. All they need to do now is immediately turn around and be like, yo, and Half-Life 3, which they're not going to do.
No, they won't do that.
It's going to be all Dota 2 for the rest of the year, I'm sure.
Yeah. Dota 2, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, and it wasn't technically E3, but it is. I guess now it's out of beta, but available for pre-purchase. And it's not really beta anymore, but it's not out. What's the stage that comes after beta? I thought it was just release.
Preview?
I don't know. It's still in some sort of testing, but it's
limited release.
Yeah, I guess so. And now it's free to play, but you can pre-purchase early access.
There is a shop now, I know.
Yes, the Valve workshop has started, and you can get like skins. They're just cosmetic items. No, nothing that will help you win. There's no pay to win stuff, which is nice. No, because
I don't
everyone
think
worried
any
about
company that
we're long since have learned. We're long
yeah.
since past.
If you are playing a game that has a pay to win feature, uninstall, dude.
yeah.
Simple.
But it's, even though you know that like someone like Valve would never do that, people were still worried about it. They were like, "Oh God!" Like, but yeah, that game is still really good. I don't know if you guys have played it lately. It's still really good. They still need a little bit of work to do on the beginning interface, stuff like that. But
you'll have to pull League of Legends
out
out
of
of
your
my
cold
cold
dead
dead
hands.
hands. It's good to know you were going exactly where I was going.
Where else would you go with that?
So am I gonna have to reinstall it though?
You don't have it on your computer anymore? Well,
No, I have it.
Install it on the new computer.
No, but I mean, like, is that do I have to install it?
No,
again?
I think everybody who already has it just will kind of keep updating.
Oh, okay, good. That's
kinda
all I was
as it
worried about.
goes.
I like
Hopefully,
to turn
I'll
it
get
on.
some sort of special hat for having been in the beta.
I hope so.
So yeah.
Do you have
Cool.
any beta
Okay,
codes
so-
left, by the way?
I
Because
do. I
those
have
will
two.
still work. Oh, I should see if we could give those out. Anybody?
I
on-
offer to give them out on
we
a
give
podcast
them
as well.
YouTube or
Yeah, anybody who wants them, just send us an email.
all right.
Send us an email at podcast@25centplay.com if you want me. I will send you a beta code on Steam.
All right, I will see what I can do.
So
So let's get
before
back
we
into the
before
meat
we,
about it.
before we move on,
Well, we
the
should go
thing
back
that's most
to
important
E3.
to me, the thing is the Steam announcement that's most important to me is that somebody asked Gabe Newell is Linux
Oh,
Steam
yes,
for
there's
Linux
one
coming
word
out this
response.
year, and he simply responded with yes.
Yes.
And so the dream lives.
And I was like,
and-
wow, that's real Steve Jobs of him.
And I've had that one computer off to the side that I was thinking about selling. The one I was thinking about selling to Rachel. I was thinking about selling Craigslist. That's going to be my dedicated Linux gaming machine. I will let you know as soon as all the games I have titles or I have entitlements to come out. I will play them on Linux with my old graphics card.
Quickly talking about Linux. I think I sent you guys both the email about the Humble Indie Bundle. All of their Linux titles now are going to have a super simple installer. There's no downloading any other thing. It's all just set. And I guess
So they made their own for Linux game thing.
yeah, no the Ubuntu people what's the company
Unity.
behind
The company behind it is
Behind
called
them.
Conical.
Yes, they did it.
Hey man, the Linux users are usually the highest contributors for Humble Indie Bundle. Now I don't know if that's because the volume is less or what.
It's
I think it's
we
because they're
care
so
about
excited
software.
that,
Yeah,
that
so excited
this
they get to
stuff
play
is
games.
there. It's
Yeah,
like,
the new unrelated to E3, the new Humble Indie Bundle is pretty tight.
God, amazing.
if I didn't already own
I
all the
own
titles,
all the games. That's the problem.
I don't have Limbo. I don't think I'm ever going to play Amnesia, the Dark Descent.
I started playing it. That game is great. It is awesome.
I know it's awesome and it looks great, but I don't want to play it. I don't want to play that game.
It's rough to play, but it's a real good game.
That's brilliant. I don't want to play it. And Super Brothers. So I'm thinking it's kind of like I'm buying Super Brothers because I got the other two. I got Psychonauts and I got a Bastion. So it's kind of like I'm buying Super Brothers for $8, getting Limbo for free,
And a bunch of soundtracks.
and Amnesia.
and the
I will never
soundtracks
play.
and donating to charity.
At the very
Yeah.
at the very least, play it. Did you decide to buy it, or are you still kind of?
I'm still designing.
I would buy it and at the very least give Amnesia a few minutes just to get.
Oh
in there
no,
and see how
I'll
it
turn it
goes.
on and see what it's like. But
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to play that game because I don't need that.
I was thinking about
Now
I
you don't
was-
want the jump scares or just
I don't
kind of
want- I don't
the
need it,
dread
man.
the pressure the
I
dread
don't
pressure.
need it, man.
I was just thinking about just buying it
I'm
and giving the
too
Steam
old for
codes.
this.
to my
You're gonna-
son.
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna-
retire in a week.
You're gonna
I'm
scream.
a week away from retirement, man. I can't take this.
I don't know. Charlie probably saw some of this. I don't know if you did, Matt. But when Day 9 was playing that game, scream like a little girl.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know that's
like
the
a
example.
little girl.
I did. He was all about it. Of the point when he had the blanket over his head. He was. That's all I needed to see, man.
All right, so we should bring this back around, back
Back
off
to
of Humble.
the 3 of E.
There's 3 of
So
them.
I don't know. I think Linux for or Steam for Linux is great for the example of being that essentially it means that all those people in Europe and Asia that can't get Windows licenses will now be able to enjoy the beauty that is Steam.
I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, that
Well,
makes,
and
that
this
makes
so
sense.
this goes back.
But they
to
all
my,
have
this goes
illegal
back to my
licenses
prediction.
for Windows anyway.
This goes back to my prediction that this is all in service that one day there will be a Valve quote unquote console and it will be Linux based and it will allow them to not have to buy. The problem is that if there was a Valve console now, every single unit would be underpinned by a Windows license
Yes.
because that's the platform that Steam runs on.
Yes, Windows C.
If they can, honestly, if Epic were to make the Unreal 4 engine, the yet unannounced thing that obviously has been in development forever, if Epic would make the next Unreal engine Linux compatible, all the dominoes would all fall. Like everything could be on Linux.
You know why?
Because Valve can make it happen.
Valve could make it happen.
I don't
That's
think-
my
I don't
point.
think- I don't
know if they
Valve makes
will,
it,
but-
Valve makes it happen.
Yeah, I don't think Epic would do that though,
Why not?
because I think they have
You don't-
a
Epic
connection
wouldn't-
You know how
to-
much money they make from?
Yeah, they have a
Yeah.
they have a pretty strong connection to Microsoft, don't they?
No,
Well,
they
it's
have
not
no
quite
connection.
as strong as it used to be. Actually,
They had an exclusive deal for Gears of War and stuff, but they get their money from selling that engine to other companies that put it on any platform they want.
Speaking of Epic, and a throwback to our last two episodes, the company that was Big Huge Games that got bought by 38 Studios, Epic stepped in and was like, Epic Baltimore. So
Wow.
they're all going to be selling drugs in Baltimore.
Excellent.
So
Body more. I like to
that's
hear
right.
it.
Body more. So that and I think kind of someone had mentioned that let's say the gaming industry was going to someone was going to step up out of the gaming industry because they didn't want to see a company go down this viciously.
This bad, yeah.
Because essentially, like what as the tale of the tape goes, it was like this was originally a triumph because it was, a game studio being treated like a Hollywood studio, and because it went so south, it made it seem like, well, obviously this stuff isn't ready for this, and so. In this way, they can say like, well, at least they're in the industry as it is not going to let something just completely collapse.
And everyone
like
can
this.
turn around and be like, Rhode Island, why did you invest in this new company? I'm not even going to get into it. We talked
Right.
about it the last 2
Right.
weeks.
So I don't know what the tale of the tape is going to be for Rhode Island and for those. Obviously, I would say like seriously, this is when whoever's running against the guy who ran against this, who shut this down. If I'm running against that guy, I'm going to say this guy's bad for business. Just as simple. Not that investment was not kind of ludicrous and did not have a chance for horrible risk, but the fact that this guy basically just cut a business out to dry that had an existing contract and then went and flamed the shit out of him. That's, I mean, if I'm thinking about moving my company to Rhode Island, I'd be like really thinking about that.
Yeah, it was super unprofessional.
So
Except it's hard for me to. It's even hard for me to say the words unprofessional because I don't think of politicians as being professionals.
Professional, yeah.
So
Yeah.
why would they?
yeah, there you go.
Can you even use that as a criticism of a politician?
Right. So back in action.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we actually going to talk about E3?
What did Sony do their thing yet? I didn't hear what Sony's up to.
Sony did do their thing. They did
All
their,
Vita all the time.
They did their thing at 6 Pacific last night. You can watch it replays. I think they're on Twitch. If you go to the game, it's twitch.tv/GameSpot. You can watch whatever it was. No, it was not all Vita all the time. There's a lot of Vita. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, all I remember is Vita stuff. They announced crossplay, which was kind of interesting, with the Sony All-Stars game, basically Super Smash Brothers, but with Sony characters. You can play crossplay between PS3 and PSP, or I should say PS Vita.
Yeah.
Not PSP. That was kind of interesting. I think in the demo, somebody playing on the the Vita won, if I remember correctly. All I really care about is Parappa the Rapper's in it, so sold.
Did they have any new
Sold.
titles that we didn't know about beforehand?
You know, that may actually be really telling because I don't remember anything else about their press conference.
I know some God of War thing was mentioned. I know, like, it's kind of the regular.
Yeah, there's a
regular
God of
stuff.
War game coming. There is. They had a dancing game.
Yeah,
Everybody had a
game.
dancing game.
What about Move?
They did not
the
have
Move?
Usher.
Did they
Okay.
do the Move?
There was a Move game, but I don't care. There was also a.
Do they have a counter product to the Kinect? No.
Sort of, because they have the PlayStation Eye, and there is a new book. I forget what it's like, magic book or spell book. Basically, you open it up, and it's all the VR stuff on the pages, and you can see it on the screen. So it's like, I don't know. It wasn't for me, so I forgot.
Like the Dancing Monkey demo.
Yeah, and honestly, it's really weird because I don't remember anything else about their press conference. I watched the entire thing, and it was just kind of like
So
the only thing I can remember is this All-Stars game.
So Microsoft pushed the console as a multimedia machine, and their big thing was what was it called? Like something screen, smart glass.
Oh, that was well, yeah. They went crazy with. Hey, as a matter of fact, you can watch Twitch on Xbox soon. Yeah, and then it was Smart Glass or Xbox Glass.
Do you know what
like
smart
that.
glass is, Charlie? Did you read about this? Okay, so this is the big announcement for Microsoft.
Is this Microsoft Surface?
No, not at all.
2.0?
Nope.
This is actually
no.
this is
If you don't
actually
know,
kinda
if you don't
cool.
know, don't guess. I'll explain it to you. This was Steve. Correct. This is the big news to come out of their conference.
It was already
This and Halo game.
This
Halo
was actually
4
already
games.
announced, like just like everything else. This was already kind of a known thing, but nobody. I don't think anyone had seen it in action.
So smart glass is basically a way to take known media sources like the Amazon rental marketplace, Hulu, Netflix, all that jazz, and make it so that when you are like watching it on the go or watching it on the Xbox, that your tablet or phone becomes like a secondary information resource. Like the big example was like the guy's like, I'm watching Sherlock Holmes on my tablet and I get home and I want to move it to my TV, so I pause it and I do this, and
Yeah,
then
you
now
hit the button and it plays.
and now
on
it's
the TV.
playing on the TV, and on my tablet it becomes like information about Sherlock Holmes and the cast and crew and all this other stuff. And the most important part about this,
It's just a picture pops up, drawing of Sherlock Holmes, and it says, "Yo, he's high."
yeah, but the most interesting part of this is that this is not a Windows 8 focused, Windows 8 phone and tablet focused thing. This is Android and iOS devices as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Right.
matter.
I was about to ask you when you
It
say the
doesn't
word
matter
tablet.
it doesn't matter what phone. They're taking the multimedia aspects that the Xbox has had for frickin' ever, and they're integrating it with all of the popular phone and tablet platforms. So Windows 8, Android, and iOS, all of them are all going to be able to control and interact with the Xbox with the new update.
That's nice.
And this
that's
is a no money. I mean,
That's good.
if you're got to be a gold member for most of it, but this is a no money thing. This is like new functionality to a 6-year-old platform.
right. And you know, theoretically though, I mean, like this is them really getting out in front of the gate because it adds. You know, this isn't the Wii U. This, you know, your iPad is not. You're not going to be like, you know, rocking the Gears of War with your iPad now. You know, it isn't that integrated. But being able to say, "Yo, we just patched this crap in there," is really awesome.
And,
Yeah,
and
it is.
it is an interesting thing because
I would say it is really awesome, but it's not that hard.
Well, it's not
I
that
mean,
hard.
'cause they're
Apple
leveraging-
TV's been
oh
doing
no,
it
but
for
it's
years.
it's the
I
willing
mean, Apple
it's the
TV
willingness
It's the
to do it
willingness
and the
to do
willingness
it
to
is
do it
the
across
best.
platform.
Yeah.
Right, and not have it be tied to some Windows tablet that, like, the population,
I think
that
that-
1% of the population.
Honestly,
I
doesn't
think
know.
they've realized that with their focus on Windows 8 phone, that it's not kind of going quite the way they want it to, and I think this is kind of a concession into that. It's like,
Yeah, my big complaint with Microsoft is their unwillingness to work with other platforms, and this is the first. Like, if you think about like the Zune and how the Zune worked, and how the old Windows 4 phones worked before Windows 7, like the idea that Microsoft is like, we're taking the Xbox, like this huge moneymaker juggernaut part of our company, and we're giving it functionality that works on other vendors' platforms. Like that is a great move to me. Like to me that shows me that they aren't the old stagnant crazy company that I perceive them as, that like they want to live in a world where they believe that you just won't buy an iPhone or that you won't buy an iPad.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Certainly the guy's
least-
phone was a Windows phone and the guy's tablet was a Windows tablet, but he was very clear that it's like this works with the iPad that you already have, this works with the Android devices you already have.
The real question behind that is because of the company is segmented, like what portion of that mentality is actually leaking out from the Xbox team to the rest of the company?
What we're gonna have to see what goes down with. There's a lot of other problems with Metro that are like not necessarily great topics for this podcast. But for an example, Charlie, you're familiar with the Metro interface for Windows 8.
Mm-hmm.
So up until now, Visual Studio, like the de facto development platform for Windows apps, like you have been able to just get a free version and make your desktop app with Visual Studio to promote making things for the platform. The new Visual Studio license for the new Windows platform, you can only make Metro apps for free. If you're going to make a conventional Windows desktop app now, you have to actually pay money for Visual Studio.
Yeah, and I would say the majority of the Metro stuff is basically, when you get right down to it, it's all HTML5.
Yeah, you don't need Visual Studio to make that anyway. In fact, that's too much overhead. So and the response to that from the development community has been off the wall, screaming, yelling, bonkers. Like that pissed a ton of people off because basically they're heavy-handed saying, well, how can we make people develop our new style of app we want them to? We basically make it so that it hits their pocketbook, it hits their bottom line big time to not develop apps the way we want them to. And as Steve said, to develop those apps, you don't need Visual Studio. You need, you need to take a Udacity.com course and then throw your ass together an HTML5 app, maybe a little JSON in there. I don't know. So,
well, I will say this. And I only know that because my experience with how they do it over in the OS 10 land, and Apple has always been pretty generous with their development stuff, regardless of how difficult that shit is. I mean, if you're down with Objective-C, then you know me. Oh wait, you don't know me, and no one's down with that shit. It's fucking hard.
No, that shit's objective.
It's yes. But they've created a marketplace for it. They've got a nice little app store. It's about as good as the iTunes store. It's not wonderful, but as you know, I'm a big fan of digital downloads and digital distribution, and given the opportunity to buy something in the wild, which was traditionally how people sold their Mac apps, or using this application, I'm going to use this application. Why? Well, when I reformat the computer, this is already installed. I click a button, and it knows I bought it, and it will give it back to me. Done and done. Very easy.
Do you know
with that said, I did try to buy a program that was on sale, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna thwack down the money. It's on sale. I'm with this. I want this thing. This is gonna be awesome. And it continued to not be able to follow the transaction. And I sent them a service email. You see, this is what happens, Apple. People start bitching on the internet. I sent them a service email, which I got no response to. And I tweeted at the company that made the product that said, I would have bought your product, but I couldn't download it through the Mac App Store. So maybe your competitors will work. And then that was all I did.
Yeah, so we'll see what Microsoft's App Store is. But like, to take your example you just gave, is that like Apple, the company that defined the concept of the App Store with the iTunes Music Store, and then subsequently the iOS App Store, that their operating system's App Store is kind of okay. And so how do you think Microsoft's App Store is going to be? I want you to think about that.
Yeah.
The answer is terrible.
Well, I
Also,
I don't know
when
if
I
you've
think
ever-
about it, the only apps I ever pay for on Windows are video games because all of the best apps to do anything are all
Video
free.
games.
that's another thing about the app market is like building apps. Generally, the real I'm generally not 100% solid on who builds those things, and I'm thinking they're like Windows administrators that work for like giant companies that have like specific uses that no one would ever fucking care about. Like a widget counter that is an interface for like time for people to timestamp so that they can go in for so they can clock in their hours,
I need to,
shit like that. Is that what people use those apps for?
Well, and that's okay.
I need
so
to get a timer app so we can time our segments and you can see it.
I was going to say one of the biggest.
I got one already.
Yeah, it's in your pocket.
One of the
Siri.
Siri, when did we start?
one of the biggest like
I don't know that.
Thanks, Dave.
business software and
Can we go back to E3? Like,
Yeah,
we
let's-
are
okay,
way
we're
off
way off
topic.
topic.
Well, I want to hear. Just finish.
I was just going to say that like a lot like most of the software that is going to get used on a computer is going to be business software that's probably written by the company you work for or written by a niche company whose only customers are the company you work for and a few others, and they're going to be like things about timekeeping or things about tracking some sort of ticket of some kind or graphing some other metric or
specific
or
productivity stuff that there might be an existing product for, but you don't want to pay Oracle for
yeah,
it.
I guarantee you that probably the best and most complicated piece of Windows software that exists isn't even for sale because it is internally used by some giant company, and it is awesome and badass. And
Also, only doesn't run
and-
on Windows. It only runs on OS 2.
I was going to say it only runs in an AS400, but it's
Okay.
awesome, badass, and so tailored for its specific purpose that you can't sell it to anybody else because they'd have to run their business exactly the way you did.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, ideally, like Windows is there so you can write some software not to sell it to people, but to run your entire non-computer related company. So you can do your sales tracking for your pizza franchise, and it's going to be some piece of software that only makes sense because you're Papa John's, and it wouldn't work for Pizza Hut and it won't work for Domino's, and you wrote it in house, and like that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
And and that's like I don't know like if there's Windows 8 Metro App Store and it's going to be full of like $2 bullshit, like I don't know how that's going to sell because I've never bought anything like that. I've been using a computer for 30 fucking years, like.
Exactly.
You're old.
So
Yeah, we're all
Yeah, we're old.
So anyway, that's the most interesting. But the whole thing that led us down that conversation was the Microsoft press conference, and I feel like
And then I was trying to
Halo
come back
4
to
looks
that.
cool, and Smart Glass,
Halo 4
and
does
Usher.
look. Halo 4 does look really good.
what does Usher have to do?
Or
with
was
these?
Usher? the E3
Usher was in the Microsoft press conference for one of the dance games.
Just
which-
Dance 4, I think.
Yes, because Dance Central was at the Sony press conference with some other dude that I do not know. Usher, I do know,
Yeah.
even though I do not care for Usher.
Is it just me, or does that guy not seem to be getting any older?
He's the new Dick Clark.
Doesn't he live in California?
Oh, that explains everything.
Yo, man, HGH.
He's high on shrubs.
HGH.
Bath
It's all
salts.
Yes, he's taking bath salts and he's
I
eating,
heard that stuff
eating-
is that's the anti-youth formula, man.
eating people's faces.
I think that's
in
like
Florida.
straight up
Nobody
you-
eating flesh is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as
formula.
soon as you inject that, you get the meth face. So I would skip that.
Just real quick about bath
Don't do
salts.
drugs, kids.
When I talked to my wife earlier today, who was out of town, I mentioned what the bath salts guy girlfriend said. Did you hear what her quote on the whole thing was? Just for everyone listening, a dude in Florida ate someone's face, was naked in the street and eating this dude's face, and the cops were screaming, "No, no, 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 stop!" And all he would do is growl at him, so they shot him, as cops are wont to do. They would have shot him anyway.
I would have shot him.
But
Well, the
so-
guy whose face was getting eaten was in imminent danger.
Yes,
if that guy's
he's
still
very-
alive, I'm sure he's very happy the cop shot that.
Well,
dude.
he's probably going to pass while he's in the hospital, and he's going to come back as a zombie, and then we'll all die. Where was I? Oh, so
But the dude's girlfriend.
the original zombie someone found the girlfriend and was like, and she was like, yeah, he like smoked weed all the time, but he was trying to quit, like, and he never did any other harder drugs. I think he was cursed. Voodoo magic.
Excellent. Also,
Fucking voodoo magic, man.
as an hey, that could explain the power of bath salts.
Voodoo magic.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Also, because of the slang term bath salts, I read today that the recreational use of actual like Epsom salts, because people think that they'll get them high, is shot way up.
So the best part was when
Gotta hurt.
When I
so if you were to inhale Epsom salts,
You
that must
inject it.
destroy.
when I said
You inject Epsom salts?
No, you inject bath salts.
Oh,
when I said to Kristen,
you shouldn't inject Epsom salt.
when I said to Kristen,
Yeah.
we really need to get back on topic, but I'll say this real quick. When I said the bath salts thing to Kristen, she was like, "So wait, you soaking it?" I would just imagine this guy
I'm
sitting in a
so
tub.
calm. I'm so peaceful.
Yep.
They
Anyway.
need more soaking
Okay,
drugs.
so I'm gonna try and bring us back to the Microsoft press conference real quick, because I did watch the whole thing, and this I do remember little bits of. Usher, Halo 4 looked really nice. There was
Cortana's
Cortana's Bob haircut.
yeah, and her
Boobs.
her boobs. Very alluring for a robot lady that exists only in the
She's
mind
not
of
a
the main
robot.
character.
She's just an AI.
Yeah, for a hot computer lady that exists only in the mind of the main character.
Sometimes she exists inside of a
Is there
ship
any
when he plugs
chance?
her in.
Is there any chance that after this trilogy, that the 7th official Master Chief game might be taken over by Remedy? And it might turn out the whole time he was just in a mental hospital.
Jeez.
And then he's got to escape the mental hospital.
I'm trying to think of what else happened in the. So there was
Connect.
Usher. There was Connect. They spent a lot of time talking about how you can Bing more stuff through Xbox now.
Oh, they're putting
With
Internet
the full-
Explorer on that
Full
shit.
web browser.
Yes, full web browser. I was aware that was actually well leaked.
That demo was very, very well done. By the way, it almost made me a believer. Not quite, but almost. I have a computer with a keyboard and a mouse in my living room.
So is there a keyboard and mouse support?
No, you use your phone. You can use your phone. I can use my phone because
That's part
it
of the glass.
supports it supports the iPhone and the Android. Yeah, you just
Wrong browser, wrong interface. Internet, you're doing it
No,
wrong.
this
No, it
this
is
is totally
I
reasonable.
kind of agree.
The virtual
I
keyboard
kind of
on
agree.
your
I kind of agree with Charlie with the actual interface. The seeing it demoed looked okay, but did you see when he was trying to browse around the page, he was going.
Yeah, that's probably because we used a Windows Phone, dog. He was using one of those fucking Nokia phones that they had to give away for free because it had like a horrible like software like glitch in the first 2 months.
Okay. So there was that. They spent a lot of time talking about the Internet Explorer and how Bing is more
Now,
integrated.
is this Internet Explorer going to be gimped? Because there are things on the internet that they charge money for.
Who charges money for?
Microsoft.
I was gonna say because you could just download the GIMP.
No.
The GIMP. No. Probably it's gonna be a base. It's gonna be.
And do
basic
you need
web
to have
browser.
a gold to use Internet Explorer?
That is an interesting question. Probably not.
Because then you could just
'Cause
use
you need-
Netflix.
Well, no. See, you wouldn't be able to because much like Hulu. Well, although Netflix. You know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you're probably right. You probably will end up needing to use a gold account.
Because
a lot of their
theoretically, access
other-
to the internet means that you can circumvent all their pay for stuff.
Because you can only watch Netflix on a gold account. Is that
Correct.
still true?
Yeah.
So you're probably right. You
Plus,
probably
you
can
could
only.
play.
But
But you
Quake-
can't watch. You
Quake
won't be able.
Live.
if you were
and
You
to
won't be able to
online.
watch Netflix or Hulu because there won't be codecs to watch it.
yeah, exactly.
There
That's
will be no
that's the
Bobby
thing is
codecs
that-
inside your Xbox.
So
playing
Charlie,
Netflix.
it's not fair to call it gimped. If you do a fresh install of Windows and fire up a browser and go to any site you like, nothing works. It's all plugin codec motivated.
Right.
Like even with Mozilla or Chrome, nothing's gonna work other than HTML5.
Actually, that's not entirely true.
that means YouTube.
If you install Chrome, if you install Windows and then install Chrome, You can watch anything that uses Flash because Flash is built into Chrome.
Okay, so that was a bad example. But if you were to just do a base install of Windows and not add any software to it, let's back up to that.
Okay.
Like none of the, like probably when you say like it's not fair to call it gimped, but it is to say it's not expandable.
Right.
Because you can't. Because if you go to a site and
saying,
it says you need Java, you can't use that site. You go to a site that says you need Flash, probably can't use that site.
All right. So, but those were that's functionality that was available on the Wii.
Yes.
Like their Opera browser, I played some shit out of a game called Devil Dice. What the hell was that called? Battle Dice? Something like that. And that was all Java up in there, and that worked just fine.
Charlie, where were you in life that you were using the Opera browser on the Wii to play a Java game?
When they said that there was a browser in the Wii, I tried it
when
out.
he tried it, yeah.
And I
was
was
like that 1 week period where he was like, "This is cool."
No, I didn't really say it was cool, but I was like, "Yo, this is cool." And then Nick came over and was like, "Why are you playing this game? You could play a much better game." I'm like, "Yeah, but you can do it."
Super Smash Brothers, you could be the hand.
Yeah. You're using Metroid Prime 3 as a coaster while you play Devil Dice.
Oh, that was speaking about the Microsoft press conference and Metroid Prime. I did see someone somewhere on Twitter, and I can't remember who said it. That was like Halo has finally gone full circle and is now Metroid Prime, like complete with the concave Master Chief on the HUD overlay on the screen. I thought that was kind of funny.
It's like Metroid with a good controller.
Oh, God. I tried to play Metroid Prime 2.
Metroid Prime 3 was good. The first one was also good. Haters want to hate.
So the second one was the worst?
I've never played it.
That's the one I tried to play?
I never played it, so I can't speak for it. All I've heard is that the second one has a lot of padding. And you've played video games, you know what padding is. You know about...
There's a lot of backtracking.
Yeah, a lot of backtracking, which... I think that was
Darksiders,
sort of a breaking
it was great.
point. That was sort of a breaking point for that. Like it's backtracking when it's backtracking when it's bad. It's I'm going back to this place when it's good. And I'll tell you, I'll talk about this a little bit later. But Gotham City or Arkham City and Arkham Asylum both had lots of backtracking in it, and I didn't mind. It was cool. But I'll tell you that the transversal in that game specifically, it wears on you. Because every time you go into a new area, everything respawns because that's Metroid.
Yeah.
And that's the Nintendo credo, is that the game has to be the same.
So if the scenarios, for example, like when I think about, like, I still haven't played freaking Arkham City, but Arkham Asylum, it's like the scenario was different.
Right.
So the architecture was the same, but the scenario was different, and that's different than the enemies respawn.
Right. Well, no, there's more of the cases because of Metroid, things get locked behind something for some reason.
So you have to come back.
So you have to be back when you're more powerful. And that just meant that you had to hump all the way back across.
You never got to...
So this is the ill thing about Metroid 2. Keep going.
I was going to say, you never got to play the what was the name of the chair game, Steve? Internet Darling. 360 game.
Oh, Shadow Complex.
Yeah, you never have to play Shadow Complex, but that game is amazing. Yeah, and that is the you have to go, like, enemies respawn
day
exactly
one.
The same
it shows
spot.
up on Steam. Day one, I'll buy it.
Yo, I will buy that game all over again. Day zero. I will just go download it from somewhere.
Yeah, I don't. That will
I'm just kidding.
Game.
Okay, so
why not?
Microsoft press conference.
At this point, it's been like 3 or 4 years, dude.
Yeah, but
it's been 3 years.
It was a very popular game, and we know how many XBLA games have showed up on Steam lately.
And it's just on Unreal Engine, so they could easily compile it to PC. But Microsoft press conference, lots of media, dancing, nobody cares about, browsing. They spend an awful lot.
Dancing is the new plastic guitar shit. It's the all that audience inherited to dancing games.
Yes, as a matter of fact, and I will spoil Matt's line from earlier today. And in fact, maybe I'll let you say it. What did you say while we were watching the Nintendo press conference and they were doing the thing with the Wii U and the girl was singing and she was reading?
Oh, I said, "Oh, great! Nintendo invented karaoke." One of the things they showed was a person holding the controller sideways, reading the lyrics off of it, singing into like the Wii mote.
That's cool.
And the people were watching. And no
Hey
lyrics.
man, that I tried to play Rock Band and I tried to do the singing part, and my vision sucks, but I was still like, "Is that a thing with it was bad. If I had it this close to my face, I could be like,
You might be
and
able to
that's
do it.
sabotage.
There you go.
I'm not gonna play that shit, but yeah.
So the
Her
last,
name was Lola,
the last,
just like Coca.
the last thing that I really remember from the Microsoft press conference was more Connect, because they did a lot of Connect style stuff, but they apparently they're bringing more languages, and you can act with it in more languages.
Yippity dippity.
And I think they showed some more COD Blops
Black Ops 2.
COD Blops 2. You can shoot through walls.
Yeah.
Couldn't
you shoot through walls?
At one point, he was charging bullets. And someone on Twitter.
Well, it's near future, right? So
I saw
might be
someone
some
on
crazy
Twitter
stuff.
said, "See, this is what happens when you elect a woman president." So
Excellent.
that was pretty funny. I got a laugh out of that. But yeah, that game, much like COD Blops, which I played and I kind of enjoyed, but it doesn't.
It's all the same. Sorry, guys. I mean, I know they're putting more effort into from the Giant Bomb source on this, but they're putting more effort into things that do increase the quality of the cinematic experience of that game. So they aren't just pumping these out. I bet it's the
best it could be.
Yeah, I know that these guys aren't just like taking the cover off other one and then slipping a new cover in the case and selling it. I know there's a lot more to that, but the core game
But from the
itself
outside
is just
looking
so
in, it's
dull.
just yeah.
It's so dull.
Hey, I moved into a life where I'm committed to Yordle or Feed, so
Yeah.
like I can't hold it against Activision that they didn't follow me to where I wanted to go.
Call of Duty Teemo edition.
Well, you know where they didn't.
I don't even know what
Call of Teemo.
the elite forces that Teemo and Tristana are a part of. I don't know what that name is, but that if they made that
Hey,
game.
you want to talk about ganks, dude? One of us needs to buy Teemo so that we can just we can execute a plan of one
Charlie
dude
just said he
stands
has
very
them.
very still.
Mm-hmm.
Yup, and then auto attacks when the time is right.
My mind is just blown. What were we talking about? What now?
Your mind will be blown
My
later when
mind
you
is
play as
just-
time.
Or
of
are we
day.
ready to go on to Nintendo, which is the final?
I was gonna say we're already
Well, okay, so I watched. So Steve, what came
about
out of
50
E3?
minutes in, and it's like
E3 Criterion's making, I'm sorry, not E3. EA Criterion's making a new Need for Speed game that's
thank
being,
God that looks good. Most Wanted.
Need for Speed Most Wanted, no number or anything, even though it's it should be
It's like
numbered.
It's Most Wanted.
But
3, I think.
but all I have to say is Burnout Paradise was the bomb. I played Hot Pursuit when I bought Hot Pursuit. Hot Pursuit was freaking awesome on the PC. So I have no reason to believe
Matt and I were chatting while we were watching the stream, and I was just like, I need to play some Burnout right now. Like I actually almost got my Xbox out so I could play it.
So yeah, that's good news.
There it is, right on my shelf.
A lot of the press conference I saw was about sports. They announced that they got a deal with UFC, and I actually meant to look up who used to make the UFC games before EA.
THQ.
It was THQ.
I said THQ
Yes.
sold the license to EA, and then shut down the studio that made it.
Yeah.
So and the guys at THQ.
It wasn't
were
made by Aki. It wasn't made by the people that used to make the wrestling games in Japan.
No.
Okay.
And THQ was like, you know what? It's a win for us. It's a win for them. It's a win for the UFC. So they got an infusion of cash, and hopefully they're going to turn around and they're going to do something
And
with
they're
it.
going to spend that on Saints Row the 4th.
Which, unfortunately, Matt probably won't buy because it's going to be more centered towards the core gamer,
Great.
and not the
So it's going to be
and
like
not the
Saints
core
Row
Matt.
the 2nd.
Yeah, Saints Row the second, not that good. I've tried to play it. I've tried.
So Steve, did anything like RPG or BioWare come out? Oh, you mentioned the level 15 thing.
Oh yeah.
To me, but not on the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't say that on the podcast. There is new content coming out for Old Republic. None of us play that game, and I don't remember enough to get into it. But starting in July, I believe it was, it's going to be free to level 15. And when I first saw that, I thought it was only going to be free for the month of July, and then I read something that made it sound like much like WoW. Now it's just going to be free, like
Just
the
five
beginning of the game.
5 less levels.
Yeah, the beginning of the game is just going to be free. No talk about consolidating servers or anything like that. They were gung ho with like new planet, new like epic stuff to go into, and legacy mode, so you can leave your mark on the universe just like the Skywalkers. In case you ever wanted to do that, I didn't really ever want to do that.
Also, the
FIFA.
Yeah, the FIFA part of the press conference. So
We're jumping all over. We're not even on a company anymore. We're just
we're just talking about EA, man. So FIFA 13, when you see the features that this game has, it really makes me feel that probably the lion's share of Americans are missing out on a global.
They play it like an esport, man.
Oh,
they've been playing it like an esport for years.
FIFA 13 on the Xbox 360 with its feature set is like some sort of global social phenomenon that we're just not.
When they started trying to introduce the game, and Matt was probably right. When they started introducing the game, they were talking about like a Munich Manchester United game. Like when
that was
that?
That was not too long ago, and that was a huge upset. It was Manchester City won the Premier League, and that is like if the Pittsburgh Pirates won the World Series.
But do you remember when that was? Because
that was
the
like
footage, the footage that they showed was 4x3, all of it. So
that was less than 2 months ago, though, in real life.
Why did the footage all look so old?
That was real recent, dude.
Oh, it's very weird. But yeah, they were talking about how that spawned like 1 million minutes or something like that. 2 million minutes in the game because everybody played it.
Yeah, everybody played worldwide. Everybody played the matchup of those two teams the day it happened to like see their own outcome, and like millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm well aware that FIFA is enormously popular. You can see it on Steam. It's always very highly ranked up. It sells well. It's on the universal platform of the PC.
Yeah.
It
is super Eurocentric. Asia really likes soccer, but Europe really likes
it. Steve asked me if Geldwin, our local soccer field, was in there, and I was like, I'm not sure MLS teams are in this game.
Yeah. You can go watch some Timbers games from FIFA 12.
Excellent.
If you want. Yeah. You can go check it out.
So then that must be like every team on the entire planet is in there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So I say the guy talking.
It may not even be the official Timbers. Somebody may have just colored the jerseys.
It's called set palette to green.
Yeah.
So the guy who was giving the introduction, he was European, and he kept referring to it as football, even though he was talking to a Los Angeles crowd,
which was great.
And I mentioned to Steve, I was like, this dude should just say like, I know none of you know what I'm talking about, but know that like this equals cash register noise. Like, if that's your only takeaway, like,
yeah,
trust me, people love this shit.
I have a complete faith that that's a fine product. It's just a matter of like
one of the odd takeaways for the game was,
and I actually think that football/soccer actually translates pretty nicely to video games from what I understand.
Well, this might be the point Steve's about to make.
I don't know. I'm not really talking about translating. I was talking about one of the kind of one-off features that is a little weird on the 360 version. If you're playing with Kinect and you make a play and like the ref calls you on it and you like curse, the Kinect will hear it, and then the announcing team will be like, "Oh,"
and you'll get a yellow card.
Yep.
That would be amazing.
No, that's what
I didn't
will
see
happen
that, but
if you start cursing.
Remember they said that they took like Lionel Messi, one of the best soccer players.
Oh, that's right.
What happens if your friend off camera takes off all his clothes and runs in front of the camera?
Well, then, hey, that's just like you're at a football match. But yes, it did get messy.
Will the Kinect acknowledge that it's like, oh, those balls are bouncing?
God, I hope not. So what about Messi?
Oh, just that there was like something about like the nature of like his shots and stuff kind of made them add some like dribbling and some other physics to like some trick shots you can do and stuff like that.
So additional animation for one star player.
No, kind of like more like physics that are capable of happening.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
seems
Not
like they've
animations.
done a drastic overhaul to certain portions of the engine because they were like, the game was really good last time, but it's missing certain little elements.
How do you polish a diamond more?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
if you look, I think what they did is they
And it
basically
sounds like
looked
they-
at like 6 situations in real life, like what are the real life 6 shit that happens, and like making the engine capable of.
And not just making it into like
And
some
when-
like slowed down super animated thing. It's actually just physics at play.
And when they started talking about Madden, I don't know if that was first or second, but the same thing kind of was at play, where they've kind of upped the some of the physics stuff that happens in Madden, where like you can lose your balance and then get it back, and if you take a hit, like everything reacts kind of the way that it's supposed to.
And those are a couple of interesting things. I know that like we're not really big on sports games, and definitely there's a lot of people.
I like the hockey games.
Sports games are definitely like a niche thing within video games, just like MOBAs are or RPGs are. But it's very interesting to see how this late in the cycle, how deep these guys have to dig to come up with things that differentiate like this game from the last game, and stuff like the nuances in the physics in the engine and stuff like that. Like that's really like deep late cycle stuff. Like because they can't just rest on higher frames per second.
Like that.
Yeah, they can't rest on higher frames per second and better graphics. Like that's done and been done for years in terms of like the hardware they have to work with. So it's like they've had to dig deep, and that's kind of one thing that might be good about how long this console cycle went, is these guys really had to get creative in terms of nuance rather than just, this shit has a fresh coat of paint on it, like give us $60
Like it looks really, really, really good. Now let's actually do something kind of in the back end and take that
like
good looking.
Yeah, after the Xbox 360 came out, there was like several years where Madden looked progressively better as they got a handle on using the hardware, and like those days are just gone.
Hey, and now with Kinect, you can call an audible.
Neat. So
Not
yeah,
really.
Pikmin 3.
Okay, so on that note, you want to take a quick break?
Quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about Nintendo.
All right.
We'll make a beer run.
All right, there's a store around the corner.
Call my
I'm not
girlfriend.
going
I'm
there.
not
It's
coming
scary.
home.
We'll get shot.
Hey, I have a guest, Becky.